Black Star.
Bullet.
C2 airborne V8.
I'll get him out of our way.
Chest cavity. She's collapsed.
I am so sorry. Hey.
Drained all her blood.
Okay. There you go. Okay. Mac.
Reveal yourself!
I am...
Popped! Bob, what is this? Going back to where? Hazard!
We're good!
Go! Here we go!
now, we bring him! She thinks she can lose us in the...
With your grief, Daddy. Just one angry and shame. Viable human.
Was it?
Hey, Rictus. Perfect in every way.
I had a little baby brother!
I can do this. I know this machine.
Breathe. Hey! Wall boy! Engine plates.
In front of your eyes! Ah! Brother! High on the scale! See!
Take the war rig off.
I do.
I got a wall boy! Says it was...
All this for a family.
If I get on the rig, there's a way inside.
No, and I myself, you will ride up in the ball.
Go back for her!
She went under the wheels.
Whatever happens, we're going to the green place.
Hey guys, today we're revving up for a deep dive into the sun-scorched, action-packed masterpiece that is Mad Max, Fury Road. This film isn't just a movie. It's a 2-hour adrenaline shot directly to your eyeballs, redefining vehicular chaos with every explosion. Get ready for chrome, grit, and some serious engine roars. This is a passion project for me, and a like or a subscribe is the best way to show your support. So if you're on board, join the crew. If not, thanks for watching anyway. We kick off with Max Rockatansky, our stoic wanderer, contemplating a two-headed lizard a normal Tuesday. Apparently, before being ambushed by Immortan Joe's war boys, the sound of their souped-up vehicles is pure predatory thunder. And Max, despite his best efforts, is overwhelmed in a flurry of dust and screaming war pups. He's dragged away, branded, and turned into a walking bag for a sickly war boy named New, whose life mission involves reaching Valhalla with a shiny chrome smile. Max is literally strapped to the front of Nux's battle car, serving as a human blood dispenser. Talk about a captive audience, am I right? It's a pretty grim intro, painting a vivid picture of this harsh, resource-depleted world. We get glimpses of the Citadel, a towering rock fortress, where Immortan Joe rules over a thirsty populace, hoarding water and wielding a terrifying power. His war boys, all pale and devoted, live for him and for the chance to die gloriously in his name, ready to spray their mouths with chrome before battle, hoping for a ticket to a shiny afterlife. The whole setup gives off serious cult vibes, but with more flamethrowers. Enter Imperator Furiosa, a woman whose name just screams "don't mess with me." She's bald, has a badass bionic arm, and a stare that could melt steel. Her job is to command the war rig, a colossal, armored fuel tanker that's basically the lifeblood of Immortan Joe's empire. The sheer mechanical growl of the rig as it rumbles to life is something else. You can feel the vibrations through the screen. She's supposed to be on a routine run for gasoline and bullets, but there's a glint in her eye. A slight deviation from the prescribed route that immediately sets off alarm bells for Joe's keen-eyed watchers. The dust kicks up, the engines roar, and she's off, leaving the teeming masses of the Citadel behind. The silence of her purposeful drive is broken only by the diesel engine's rumble and a growing sense of dread. Clearly, this isn't just a trip to the gas station. It's a meticulously planned escape, a silent act of rebellion against the tyrannical regime that controls every drop of water and every bit of hope in this wasteland. The visual contrast between her grim determination and the war boy's chaotic energy is stark, establishing her as a powerful, singular force back at the Citadel. Things take a turn from bad to apocalyptic when Immortan Joe realizes his prized possessions, breeders. As he so charmingly puts it, the 5 wives are gone. The silent, almost religious awe surrounding their vault is shattered by Joe's guttural roar, "My property." The man is less distraught husband and more deranged collector who just lost his rarest action figures. The sound of his fury echoes through the fortress, a bone-rattling scream that sends shivers down your spine. His entire war boy army, all fueled by the promise of Valhalla and Immortan Joe's approval, immediately mobilizes. Their vehicles, a bizarre symphony of repurposed metal, spikes, and superchargers, burst forth from the Citadel like a metallic swarm of angry hornets. Joe, perched atop his ridiculously armored gigahorse, leads the charge. Allied factions, the grotesque bullet farmers, and the oil-slicked gastown pups, are summoned, adding their own unique brand of vehicular insanity to the mix. The desert floor trembles under the weight of this monstrous convoy. Max, still very much a reluctant hood ornament on Nux's car, is dragged into this absolute maelstrom. The screech of tires on sand, the deafening roar of engines, the metallic clang of vehicles scraping against each other. It's a symphony of destruction, and we're only just getting started. One could say he's just along for the ride, but considering he's a human blood bag, it's more like he's along for the ride and donating life's precious fluid. Multitasking at its finest, I suppose. The chase is on, and it's less a chase and more a full-blown metal ballet of destruction. War boys, with their signature suicidal glee, attempt to board the war rig. They're swinging on poles, clambering over the top, basically treating a moving death trap like it's a playground. The sound of metal grinding against metal, the sharp crack of firearms, and the desperate shouts of both pursuers and pursued fill the air. Max, still unwillingly attached to Nux's ride, is getting a front row seat to this vehicular circus, probably wishing he had popcorn. New, meanwhile, is practically vibrating with manic energy, eager to prove his worth to Immortan Joe. Just when you think the chaos can't get any wilder, a gargantuan, swirling sandstorm appears on the horizon, an angry, reddish-orange behemoth threatening to swallow everything whole. It's a truly spectacular visual, like the dessert itself decided to throw a tantrum. Furiosa, ever the pragmatist, sees it as both a massive risk and a potential escape route. The roar of the approaching storm is almost as loud as the engines, a deep, resonant rumble that promises utter devastation. The other vehicles, piloted by Joe's allies, hesitate, recognizing the sheer danger. But Furiosa, with her cargo of precious cargo, and no, I'm not talking about the Gasolini, drives straight into the heart of it, a defiant spec against the colossal natural force. Talk about committing to the bit. Inside that monstrous sandstorm, the world dissolves into a blinding, deafening maelstrom of sand and lightning. The air crackles with static, and the shriek of the wind is like 1,000 banshees. Visibility plummets to practically nothing, making every turn a gamble with death. Vehicles are tossed about like toys, crumpling under the sheer force of the gale. Debris, large and small, flies through the air, creating lethal projectiles out of harmless bits of metal. It's a truly terrifying scene, a visceral assault on the senses where every frame vibrates with raw power. Max, still tethered to New, is flung violently round. The chaotic forces, however, become his unlikely ally. With a desperate surge of adrenaline, he manages to wrench himself free from his restraints, tearing the blood bag attachment from his arm. The physical struggle is palpable, a desperate fight against both man and nature. Nux's vehicle is utterly wrecked, but the war boy, surprisingly, survives, albeit in a dazed state. Max, now free but disoriented, stumbles through the swirling orange nightmare. The storm is a force equalizer, reducing everyone, even the mighty Immortan Joe, to mere specks of dust. It's the ultimate bad day scenario, proving that sometimes nature just decides to remind everyone who's bossed out as the sandstorm slowly dissipates. Leaving behind a hazy, eerie calm, Max emerges, looking like he just went 10 rounds with a blender. He's still got that muzzle contraption on, which probably makes talking to new people a bit awkward. He spots the war rig, surprisingly intact, and his natural instinct for survival kicks in. Steal the rig, disappear, live another day. But then he sees them, the 5 wives. They're washing themselves with precious water, a decadent act in this parched world. And it's a stunning visual contrast to the grit and grime of everything else. Their skin is smooth, their clothes pristine white. They look like ethereal goddesses dropped into hell. Max's attempt to sneak into the rig is quickly foiled by the wives, who are surprisingly resourceful, setting off tripwires and shouting alarms. The ensuing commotion alerts Furiosa, who swiftly returns to the rig. The air is thick with tension as Max, still muzzled and half-crazed, eyes the wives and the rig as his ticket to freedom. He's not exactly charming company, and his grunts and struggles speak volumes. The sound of their startled cries echoes across the quiet desert, breaking the post-storm silence. This is it, the meet-cute nobody asked for. Max, still muzzled and looking absolutely feral, confronts Furiosa in a brutal, no-holds-barred brawl for control of the war rig. The sound of punches landing, grunts of effort, and the scuffle of boots on metal is intense and unflinching. Furiosa, despite her prosthetic arm, is a formidable fighter, swift and precise. The wives, bless their cotton socks, try to help, mostly by yelling and clumsily throwing things, like a surprisingly heavy wrench that definitely leaves a mark. Max, in a moment of sheer desperation and animal instinct, even uses the small, adorable dog he found earlier as a distraction, which ends tragically when a bullet finds its mark instead of a war boy. It's a gut-wrenching moment that reminds us how truly desperate this world is. Max eventually overpowers Furiosa and the wives, clanging the muzzle off his face with a metal pipe. You can almost feel the relief of that mask coming off. And the first raspy words he utters, after all, that silence, are just pure Max. He's in control. But surprise, surprise, he can't actually get the war restarted without Furiosa's specialized knowledge. The engine stays stubbornly silent, giving him a moment to reflect that maybe brute force isn't the solution to everything. Oops. Watch this uneasy alliance form, probably wondering if their luck just improved or got significantly worse. They're basically trapped in a high-speed horror show with two reluctant heroes. The war rig plunges into the canyon, and it's less a shortcut and more a gauntlet of pure hell. Joe's forces, including the terrifying bullet farmers with their seemingly endless supply of ammo, and the grotesque Gastown pups with their explosive lances, are waiting. They attack from the rocky ledges above, creating a deadly hail of bullets and harpoons. The metallic clang of harpoons striking the rig, the sharp crack of rifle fire, and the explosive thud of bombs detonating against the canyon walls create a truly hellish symphony. Max, now finally doing what he does best, scrambles onto the outside of the rig, exchanging fire with the enemy. He's a whirlwind of calculated violence, swinging and shooting with brutal efficiency. Furiosa, with her incredible driving skills, weaves the massive rig through the narrow passages, narrowly avoiding massive boulders and explosive charges. The wives, meanwhile, are pressed against the rig's interior, their fear palpable as the vehicle shakes and shudders under the assault. New, who somehow survived the sandstorm, is now trying to get back into Immortan Joe's good graces, joins the pursuit again, his desperate attempts to catch Furiosa both pathetic and relentless. It's a chaotic, dust-filled ballet of survival, with every moment threatening to be their last. The stakes are incredibly high, and the sound design makes you feel every single impact. The canyon opens up to reveal a precarious rock bridge spanning a deep chasm. It's a classic bottleneck, and Furiosa knows it. As one of Joe's vehicles attempts to cross, Max, showing off his improvisational genius, commandeers a harpoon gun. With a loud, metallic thud, the harpoon latches onto the rock structure, and a well-aimed shot or two destabilizes the bridge, sending the enemy vehicle plummeting into the abyss below. The crunch of metal and rock as it disappears is incredibly satisfying. Just when they catch their breath, they're immediately confronted by the heavy artillery of the bullet farm convoy, led by the grotesque bullet farmer himself. His vehicle is a terrifying mobile arsenal, spewing out a relentless stream of gunfire. The air is thick with the buzzing sound of bullets whizzing past. It's a short, sharp exchange, a reminder that in this world, there's always another predator around the corner. Max and Furiosa, now a surprisingly effective team, manage to blast their way through, leaving a trail of wreckage and burning vehicles in their wake. The sensory overload is constant. From the smell of burning rubber if you could smell it to the deafening roar of explosions. It's like a bad day at the office if your office was a war zone and your boss had a fetish for chrome dot as the desert sky darkens, bleeding from orange to deep blue, a temporary calm descends. The roar of engines fades into the background, replaced by the gentle creak of the cooling war rig and the whisper of the night wind. Max and Furiosa, weary and covered in dust and grime, share a moment of tense silence. It's the kind of quiet that feels fragile, easily shattered. Max, still a man of practical actions over words, sees Furiosa's dire condition. She's been shot, and with a grunt that suggests deep reluctance, offers her his blood. It's a subtle act of trust, a quiet acknowledgement of their shared fate, sealing their fragile alliance. The slow drip of blood is a powerful, almost sacred exchange in this desiccated world. Meanwhile, New, after yet another failed attempt to impress Immortan Joe, finds himself captured by the wives. He's tied up, looking utterly dejected. A far cry from his previous chrome-worshipping zeal. He's essentially been demoted from war boy to pathetic human knot. The wives, in their moment of newfound power, show a surprising resilience and a touch of dark humor in their handling of him. This brief lull offers a chance for the characters and the audience to breathe before the next inevitable onslaught. It's moments like these, the quiet humanity amidst the madness, that make this film so much more than just explosions. Dawn breaks, revealing a vast, desolate landscape, the salt flats. Furiosa, with a glimmer of hope in her eyes, spots a lone figure on a motorcycle in the distance. It's a shot of pure longing and desperation. With a dramatic flair, she sends a signal, hoping against hope that it's who she thinks it is. The many mothers, the last remnants of her past. The guardians of the legendary green place. The crackle of the flare against the morning air is a stark sound in the quiet. Soon, they are surrounded not by Joe's war boys, but by a formidable group of older women on motorcycles, the Vuvellini, also known as the Many Mothers. These aren't your typical grandmas. They're battle-hardened, wise, and absolutely fierce, their faces etched with the harsh realities of the wasteland. Their bikes rumble with a different kind of power, a seasoned, practical might. There's a quiet reunion, a moment of profound recognition between Furiosa and one of the elders, a shared history in their tired eyes. The sound of their engines slowly approaching, then gracefully stopping, adds to the almost ceremonial atmosphere of this encounter. Max watches, a silent observer, probably wondering if he's walked into another bizarre cult, but this time with better bikes and less chrome worship. The moment of fragile hope shatters like glass. Furiosa, with a desperate tremor in her voice, asks about the green place, the lush, fertile sanctuary she's been fighting to reach. The elder Vuvellini woman, with a solemn look, crushes a handful of earth in her hand, revealing nothing but dry, barren sand. The crunching sound of the sand in her palm is devastatingly loud in the quiet air. The green place is gone, lost to the encroaching wasteland, poisoned and desiccated into a vast, toxic salt flat. The news hits Furiosa like a physical blow, a guttural cry escaping her lips as she collapses to her knees, her dreams utterly crushed. It's a heartbreaking scene, a raw depiction of loss and despair. The wives who had clung to the hope of a verdant future share her profound grief. Max, ever the stoic, observes her pain, a flicker of empathy in his usually hardened eyes. The sound of her despairing wail echoes across the desolate landscape, a testament to the harsh, unforgiving nature of this world. It's a brutal twist, showing that sometimes, even after all that fighting, the destination itself can be another form of devastation, with the green place a myth. And the hope for a tranquil future evaporated, a new, desperate plan forms. Max, with his typical brutal pragmatism, points to the citadel on a map. His gruff voice suggests the only viable path now is to turn back, exploit the momentary vacuum left by Immortan Joe's pursuit, and seize control of the water and resources. It's a crazy, suicidal idea, but in this world, crazy is just Wednesday. The rustle of the map as he unfolds, it is a small detail that grounds the moment. Furiosa, after a long, thoughtful pause, a deep sigh escaping her lips, sees the logic. Her eyes, filled with a renewed fire, meet Max's. It's a moment of profound strategic shift, from escape to revolution. The Vuvolini, though initially hesitant to join such a suicidal mission, are swayed by Furiosa's conviction and Max's grim determination. Their old, weathered faces show a mix of resignation and renewed purpose. The war rig, now reinforced with the Vuvolini's expertise and a fresh supply of firearms, prepares for the perilous return journey. The engines roar back to life, but this time, it's not the sound of escape, but the rallying cry of rebellion. The wives, having faced utter despair, now find a new, albeit terrifying, purpose in this audacious plan. It's a classic fight-or-die trying scenario, with a lot more chrome. As they hurtle back towards the Citadel, the tension ratchets up another notch. Immortan Joe's forces, now more enraged and desperate than ever, are closing in. But this time, our heroes are ready. New, having officially switched teams and found a new purpose and probably a new Valhalla to aspire to. Hopefully one with more regular blood transfusions. Is busy wreaking explosives onto the war rig's massive fuel tankers. The metallic clinks and soft thuds of him attaching the charges are expertly woven into the engine's constant thrum. He's surprisingly adept at it, perhaps years of war boy training finally paying off in a constructive way. Max, meanwhile, is preparing his arsenal, his movements precise and economical. Furiosa is focused on the road, her hands gripping the wheel, every muscle taut. The wives, no longer just cargo, are also helping, passing ammunition and bracing themselves for the inevitable onslaught. There's a palpable sense of grim determination, a quiet resolve that they will either succeed or die gloriously trying. The roar of the approaching vehicles is getting louder, a deep, predatory growl that promises bloodshed. It's a masterful buildup of suspense, making you lean forward in your seat, knowing that absolute mayhem is just round the corner. Get ready because the next segment is basically a masterclass in vehicular combat, and then all hell breaks loose. Immortan Joe's entire army converges on the war rig, a frenzied swarm of vehicles, harpoons, and war boys. The air becomes a deafening cacophony of roaring engines, screeching tires, and a relentless barrage of gunfire and explosions. It's like a metal-on-metal symphony of chaos, but with more fire. Max, true to form, positions himself at the very front of the rig, a one-man wrecking crew, firing his shotgun with brutal efficiency. Each blast sends a satisfying boom echoing over the sound of the engines. He's taking on multiple vehicles, dodging harpoons, and generally making life very difficult for Joe's forces. New, seizing his moment for true redemption, actively joins the fight, climbing around the rig, his pale body a blur of frantic energy. He's no longer a reluctant blood bag carrier. He's a vital, albeit still a bit manic, part of the team. The wives, from inside the cab, reload weapons and keep a vigilant lookout, their screams of fear now mixed with shouts of encouragement. The sheer scale of the action is breathtaking, a non-stop, kinetic ballet of destruction. Vehicles are exploding, bodies are flying, and the very ground seems to shake with the intensity of the battle. It's a complete sensory overload, pulling you right into the heart of the action. Immortan Joe, clearly tired of playing cat and mouse, brings his monstrous gigahorse, basically to Cadillac stacked on top of each other, into the fray. The thing is a rolling fortress of spikes and brute force, and the sound of its massive engines is a low, menacing growl. He attempts to board the war rig, a terrifying clash of metal and sheer will. It's close-quarters combat on moving vehicles, a level of insanity few films dare to touch. Max, Furiosa, and New fight tooth and nail to repel the assault, the clang of weapons and the roar of the engines mixing with the desperate shouts. In a horrific, gut-wrenching moment, the splendid Angharad, one of the wives, heavily pregnant with Joe's child, makes a desperate attempt to protect Furiosa. She falls from the war rig, a silent, desperate scream caught in the wind. The devastating crunch of Joe's gigahorse running her over is chilling, a brutal reminder of the high cost of this rebellion. The image of her body, broken on the sand, is a powerful, tragic blow. It galvanizes our heroes, turning their fight for survival into a vengeful crusade. New, particularly, is devastated, his newfound loyalty solidified by the senseless loss. The scene is a stark, brutal turning point, showing that even in this fantastical world, death carries real weight and consequence, fueled by grief and rage. Furiosa launches herself onto Joe's gigahorse, her prosthetic arm a blur of furious motion. It's a visceral, personal confrontation, the sound of her grunts and the clang of metal against Joe's armor echoing over the roaring engines. She's not just fighting for survival anymore. She's fighting for retribution. Max, despite his injuries, provides covering fire from the war rig, his shotgun blasts providing a rhythmic boom against the cacophony of battle. He's taking out war boys left and right, his aim precise and deadly. New, meanwhile, desperately tries to keep the war rig going, pushing it to its absolute limits. Furiosa's target is Joe's grotesque respirator mask, the very symbol of his power and his vulnerability. She claws and wrenches at it, the metallic scrape of her efforts sending shivers down her spine. The fight is brutal and desperate, a dance of death on speeding vehicles. Joe's desperate screams are muffled by his mask, but the fury is clear. The other wives watch, horrified but also utterly invested, their shouts of encouragement adding to the chaos. It's a climactic struggle, a culmination of all the desperate hope and brutal loss that has defined their journey. You can feel the sheer force of Furiosa's determination, her raw power radiating from the screen with a final, furious surge. Furiosa wrenches Immortan Joe's grotesque respirator mask clean off his face. The sound of plastic tearing and his gurgling gasp of air is horrifyingly satisfying. What's revealed beneath is a truly ghastly, disfigured face, a stark contrast to the imposing, godlike figure he projected. He's just a broken, sickly old man, not the immortal warlord he claimed to be. In a moment of sheer poetic justice, Furiosa uses the very pole he used to harpoon her rig, impaling him with his own twisted symbol of power. The crunch of bone and the squelch of blood are sickening, a brutal end to a brutal man. His body, left dangling, becomes an immediate symbol of liberation. The war boys, witnessing their immortal leader's demise, are stunned into momentary silence, their belief system shattering round them. Max, having taken a serious injury, is still clinging to the side of the rig, watching the grim spectacle with a silent nod of approval. New, with a roar of triumph, continues to push the rig forward. The silence that follows Joe's death is almost louder than the explosions that preceded it, a profound shift in the power dynamics of the wasteland. It's a moment of victory, hard-won and soaked in blood. The war rig, now a symbol of rebellion, makes its triumphant, if still battered, return to the citadel. The sound of its engines roaring through the gates is different this time. It's a sound of defiance, not submission. Furiosa, with a powerful, almost iconic gesture, hoists Immortan Joe's lifeless body high above her head for all to see. The sight of their supposedly immortal god, dead and disfigured, causes a ripple of shock, then a wave of frenzied rebellion among the parched, desperate masses below. The crowd erupts, a thunderous roar of jubilation and outrage. Max, severely injured and fading fast, observes the chaos with a quiet intensity, his work done. The wives, now powerful figures in their own right, lead the charge, guiding the people to open the water valves, a torrent of life-giving liquid cascading down to the thirsty masses. The joyous shouts and splashes of water are a balm after so much violence. It's a powerful visual, a new dawn for the oppressed, breaking free from their chains. Furiosa, no longer just an imperator, becomes a revolutionary, standing tall amidst the chaos. It's not just a victory, it's the genesis of a new, potentially fairer society, built on the ashes of tyranny. The clank of the chains breaking and the gush of water are the sounds of freedom. As the people of the Citadel celebrate their newfound freedom, reveling in the sudden bounty of water and the promise of a better future, Max, ever the lone wolf, makes his silent exit. Furiosa, with a touch of quiet gratitude, tends to his wounds, a moment of shared humanity and understanding between two battered warriors. He receives a look of appreciation, but no words are needed. The cheers of the crowd, the joyous shouts of the liberated, fill the air, a stark contrast to Max's internal silence. He exchanges a final, meaningful glance with Furiosa, a wordless acknowledgement of their incredible journey together. He's not built for celebration or leadership. His path is one of solitude, an eternal wanderer in the desolate wastes. He simply turns and melts away into the throngs of people, a shadow disappearing into the light. The image of him walking away, back into the vast, unknown desert, leaves a lingering sense of melancholy, but also an understanding of his essential nature. He's a protector, a catalyst for change, but never a participant in the aftermath. It's a poignant end to his involvement in this particular saga, leaving Furiosa to lead and Max to wander, ready for whatever the wasteland throws at him next. This movie isn't just about explosions and car chases, it's about the resilience of the human spirit, the fight for a better future, and the quiet heroism of those who dare to dream of something more. Even if that something more is just fresh water and a less chrome-obsessed leader. The relentless action and visceral storytelling of Fury Road truly make it a standout. It's a masterclass in visual storytelling and world building, proving that sometimes less dialogue and more vehicular mayhem is exactly what the doctor ordered. This film grabs you by the throat from minute one and doesn't let go, proving that even in the most desolate of futures, hope can still ignite like a supercharged engine. It's a powerful reminder that while the road ahead might be long and full of dangers, the fight for a better world is always worth it. What a ride, huh? Truly a fan.